One of the things I love about our department is that everybody here, faculty and students, care about the implications of what we do for families and for communities. There is nobody who is simply interested in the kind of hothouse, ivory tower approach only. There is a great commitment here to asking the question, how does this affect families? How can we improve the lives of families? How can we improve our world? Well, I think I'm driven to discover in two areas. One is around divorce and divorce decision making and how people come to a decision to either work on their marriage or to divorce. And I got into this because of a family court judge about 10 years ago, Bruce Peterson, called me and said, could we have coffee? And the judge asked me to have coffee, I have coffee, right? And he was seeing in his court couples who were getting along really well in the divorce process. He thought they were doing the divorce better than he and his wife could have, even though he was happily married, because there's so many decisions to make and putting the children first. Sometimes they come to his chambers and they're smiling at each other, sitting next to each other on the couch. And he was wondering why they're divorcing. And he asked me at that coffee, is there any research on openness to reconciliation, or what I've been calling divorce ambivalence, among people who are already in the divorce process? There was no research, so we began to do it. And what we found was a lot more ambivalence among people who have already filed and in the process. But the divorce industry, if you will, assumes that once you file, it's straight on. And in fact, if somebody starts to say, I'm not so sure about this, usually the lawyers and the judges will just say, keep going, keep going, keep going. And so it really opened up a whole new phase of my career, both research and practice, because I helped to develop an intervention that we also have research on called Discernment Counseling, which is a brief way to help people who are ambivalent. Usually one is leaning out, the other's leaning in, helping them make a decision about whether to proceed with divorce or to carve out a time of 6 months for couples therapy to see if they can right the ship and get themselves into a place that's healthy for both of them. Then the other is my community engagement work, which is around what I call the families and democracy model, and also call it citizen healthcare. And so this is a way to think about families as co-creators of discovery and knowledge, not just consumers of what we develop here at the university. So it's called various ways. It's called action research. It's called community-based participatory research. And so this involves working with groups of individuals and parents, families, to tackle problems like diabetes in the American Indian community, teen pregnancy, where we work with a group of teens who they develop the intervention in the school. Okay? And they developed the name, SMART, Sexually Mature and Responsible Teens. And they reached out to their peers around making good choices around teenage pregnancy. Those are a couple of examples of projects that are, if you will, side by side, developing new knowledge and doing interventions to make a difference. And because often what we've thought of is that knowledge gets generated here at the university and then trickles down from there. And of course, that's one way it happens. But I'm really fired up about doing this with people. And if you want to make a difference, it's often with rather than to or for. So this is a big important area of my work. We're also doing things that students get invited to go to, like I did a workshop on dealing with election stress. And so what happens when students get involved in these things, they find it very different from anything else that they've been involved in academically. And it opens them up to the power of the knowledge and energy and wisdom of regular people to produce things, to create things, not just to consume what we offer.